Once upon a time, there was a French lady who had a passion for fairy tales. She lived during the reign of Louis XIV and was the first author to popularize the term fairy tale. Her name was Marie Catherine and was born in Barneville-la-Bertrand, near Honfleur in Normandy, in 1650 to Nicolas Claude Le Jumel and Judith Angélique Le Costelier. Her father was related to some of the best families of Normandy and had served long in the armies of Louis XIV. Her mother later married the Marquis of Guichen and went with him to Rome. At the age of 16, Marie's father arranged for her to be married to François de la Motte, Baron d'Aulnoy, who was 30 years older than Marie Catherine. He lived in Paris and belonged to the household of the Duke of Vendôme. Unhappy with the high taxes imposed by Louis XIV, the Baron, who was a notorious gambler, expressed his frustration and spoke against the royal measures. Subsequently, in 1669, he was accused of high treason. It turned out that Marie and her mother had plotted against the Baron with the help of their two lovers. Although François was falsely accused, he ended up in the Bastille, imprisoned for 3 years. Fearing he might be facing execution, he eventually was able to prove his innocence, and the two men involved in the conspiracy were instead executed. Facing serious consequences, Marie and her mother decided to flee for their safety. They were able to escape to England not before an arrest warrant had been issued for Madame d'Aulnoy. Whilst the king's officers were searching for her, Marie managed to escape through a window and hid in a neighboring church. For the next 15 years, Madame d'Aulnoy traveled through England, Spain, and Holland. It was rumored that she was working as a spy for France and was only able to return to Paris in 1685. Meanwhile, her mother remained in Spain, living off a pension paid by the king. When Marie returned to France, she was 35 years old and by then an accomplished and well-traveled lady. She started to enjoy the life of Parisian salons in her own home at Rue Saint-Benoît, where she was hosting social gatherings attended by French aristocrats and princes, including her close friend, the essayist and literary critic Seigneur de Saint-Évremont. Possessing remarkable conversational powers and agreeable wit, Madame d'Aulnoy established a literary salon where French ladies entertained themselves by reading and writing tales in a predominantly female environment. In the 17th century, women's role in society was minimal, as they had to fit into the conventional norms. Madame d'Aulnoy proved to be a rebellious and revolutionary spirit who refused to be subservient and obedient. Unable to openly criticize Louis XIV and his regime, Madame d'Aulnoy realized that she could express her strong feelings on the matter by writing fairy tales. She would use many sources to put her stories together, including stories from Pentameron, other different authors, and oral sources. Her fairy tales gave women a voice. Unable to choose their own fortunes and careers, the ladies attending Marie's literary salons found a way to criticize the regime, who would endlessly interrupt them in their pre-established roles. Although her fairy tales have been recently rewritten and adapted for children, at the time they were published, they were intended as a form of entertainment for grown-ups. In 1697 and in 1698, Madame d'Aulnoy published fairy tales and new tales or fairies in fashion. Instantly successful and popular, her elaborate French salon fairy tales were reprinted numerous times during the 18th century in France and elsewhere. Some of Madame d'Aulnoy's well-known fairy tales were The White Cat, The Bee and the Orange Tree, The Blue Bird, Belle Belle, and The Ram. She also wrote about her experiences in England and Spain, publishing her travel memoirs based on her supposed travels through court life in Madrid and London. Although it is uncertain if these stories are based on facts or vivid imagination, they later became popular. The money she earned by writing and publishing her work was spent supporting her daughters. She had 6 children, but only 2 were acknowledged by their father, the Baron d'Aulnoy. It is fair to assume that Marie was romantically involved with different men, and after the Baron's death, Marie married again Monsieur de Santalbe. Marie Catherine died in her house in Rue Saint-Benoît on the 14th of January, 1705. Her life mirrors her work, a mixture of mysterious happenings and fanciful events that created a fairy tale-like atmosphere, rich with beautiful and fantastical imagery. Although today Madame d'Aulnoy's name and work are almost very little known, it is worth mentioning that she started writing fairy tales during a period of time when this type of literary genre was very popular in France. She was an innovative writer who should be praised for her writing abilities, along with more well-known authors such as Charles Perrault, who was himself encouraged by King Louis XIV to write story tales.